Hi, my name is Jacob Welch, and my presentation is on teen parenting. First question is, what are we doing wrong? I think personally, what we're doing wrong is we're not sitting our kids down, we're not talking to them about sex, and we're not having that sex talk. We are not exposing them to sex. I personally believe that they needed to be exposed to this at a younger age, probably about middle school, because once you get into high school, I mean, kids go out, kids will drink, kids will find the opposite sex attractive, things might happen. Uh, it's human nature. Sex is human nature. It's just gonna happen. And also, I think parents are too busy on their job, their career, their finances, paying bills, putting food on the table for their own children. They're not gonna just bring up sex. That's not a hot topic maybe for them individually. Certain different parents, it might happen for different parents. It might just, but I would think majority, they're not just gonna sit there and be like, hey, this is what you need to know, the do's, don'ts, positive, negatives of it. I got there's an article that I found. It's called "How Do We Reduce Teen Pregnancy in the U.S.?" It says between 2011 and 2013, 47% of males and 44% of females between 15 and 19 years old reported having had sex. In 1988, 60% of males and 51% of females in that age group had sex. Second question is, how do we fix this? You could start off with birth control at an earlier age. That would definitely prevent or help prevent pregnancy, letting them know that there's protection out there, condoms, birth control, the pill. You can now insert something into your arm, I've heard. Also, they have just started, medical professions have just started the HPV shot, which you can get at 13 years of age now. Also, medical professionals, teachers, parents, should honestly just reach out. Reach out to their kids, to the teenagers. Being a teenager is a rough time. You're just trying to fit in. And also, I think they should probably cut back on welfare and two dependent children, ADC. I think there needs to be a limit for how much money it is given to teen parents, because this can be a way for teens to create a means of income by having these kids. It's not a bad thing, I think it's fine that they give them money, but I personally believe that if you're having kids left and right, you can just not work and just have the government give you money, just fund you money, and I think you need to get a job and get paid more than what the government's giving you, so your child can really live that full life. And this can be abused, and I think that the welfare system can be abused. There should be people that come to like elementary schools, to middle schools, talk about, have a sex ed presentation. When I was in elementary school in 5th grade, they had all the 5th graders in the school would come to the auditorium and they would have a sex presentation. They would talk all about it, give us pamphlets. They were giving us condoms in 5th grade, and it might sound insane and outrageous, but at least like the message is getting across, and what it is, what can happen if you have sex. There's another article that I found. It's called "Switzerland Can Teach America a Lot About Sex," and it says the sex box, terrible name, but it's what schools are being issued to teach students sex ed. Equipped with a wooden penis and a fabric vagina, the boxes are raising quite the stir, and those aren't even the controversial contents. The school board received over 3,000 letters of complaints, but they're not backing down. So the Switzerland school is not backing down from teaching these kids sex ed about a wooden penis and a fabric vagina. they're getting the message across, and they want the kids to know what they could possibly come across in the future. And even though the parents don't like it, tough love. Honestly, what do we need to do? If unplanned pregnancy occurs, I personally believe that adoption should be an option. If you're not ready to have a child, at least have that child, man or woman, have a chance to live life. I believe everybody deserves to be born. There needs to be a relationship with the parents. Make sure that you love your parents. Make sure you have a good bond with them. And any adult that sees their child act out or resent them for any reason, they need to get involved right away. Make sure your child isn't doing drugs or alcohol, abusing it. Making sure that they're hanging out with the right crowd, not being a follower, be a leader. I believe sex education needs to be a mandatory class. There should be, they should offer classes in therapy that should be more affordable for families that are in the lower class. My grandma was a teacher for 30 years. She just retired, and in high school, there were parents that would make their kids not take sex ed. They would tell them, I don't want my kids to take sex ed. And which is understandable, but I mean, it's sex. Like, they're gonna find out eventually. So, what's the big problem? And then one of my discussion questions is, should sex education class be mandatory for kids in elementary or middle school or even high school? And the second question is, how do you prevent teen parenting or teen pregnancy from happening? And then a short story to tell you guys before this presentation ends is my mom was a product of being a pregnant teen, and she had me when she was super young. And she made sure that I always had a roof under my head. She was working 2 jobs. Wherever she went, I went. She never missed. She put me in all my sports: football, soccer, tennis, swim. She did it all for me. She never let me know that we were struggling. We always had a roof under our head. There was no shelter. We were always living in a home. I went to a private school in high school and in middle school, and that's tuition. That means you have to pay to go to school, and she was paying for it. There was no financial aid. When she had me, she wasn't even on welfare. She got no funds. When she told her parents that she got pregnant, her father was very, very against it. They didn't have a relationship for a while, and she for some reason wanted her to go back east and have the kid and then come back. I didn't understand that part, but and her older sister, was very vindictive, kind of mean about it, and my mom was set out to prove them wrong. Her mom, my grandma, was very supportive, but she was out to prove her dad wrong. I wanted to make sure that I had the best life that I could possibly have, and honestly I have. She put me through all my sports, and one thing that I wanted my mom to know is that because I was driven to play football, and I got a full ride scholarship to Eastern Illinois University, and I wanted to make sure that my mom didn't have to pay a dime for college, and she has it. So I'm happy for that. I'm blessed, and that's my presentation. Thank you.